ends of the earth to find the world's best roofing material. You can find it right here on the Pacific coast of North America. Western red cedar. Resistant to insects and deterioration. Produced by the cycles of nature. Cedar's beauty and insulating value made it a favorite of master builders for hundreds of years. And that master quality is available today through members of the Cedar, Shake, and Shingle Bureau. For over 75 years, the Cedar, Shake, and Shingle Bureau trademarks have guaranteed builders the best that nature has to offer. Bound together by rigid quality codes, Bureau members agree to strict standards of inspection, grading, and application. Blue Label Certigrade shingles are 100% clear hardwood. By definition, a shingle is sawn and is thinner than a cedar shake. Shingles are demanded by architects for their design flexibility and tailored appearance. Shakes are split, sawn, or a combination of both. Thicker than shingles, shakes provide a more rustic appearance and better insulation value. A roof covered with shakes uses fewer pieces of wood than the same roof made of shingles, making application faster. The Bureau certifies a range of grades produced by its members, including CertaGuard fire retardant and CertaLast preservative-treated shakes and shingles, and all wear the only label that guarantees the very best, the Certa trademark of the Cedar, Shake, and Shingle Bureau. As we show you the basics of roofing with cedar shakes and shingles, we'll refer to a book, New Roof Construction. We'll tell you where to send for your own copy at the end of this video. Most shake or shingle roofs are installed on spaced sheathing. Use 1x6s or 1x4s, placed no more than 3.5 inches apart. At the eaves, the sheathing should be solid, usually extending 36 inches in from the edge. For shakes, cover the solid sheathing with number 30 felt. In areas prone to ice dams, use a nail sealing membrane for shakes or shingles. This will form an ice and water shield. Double-check the ventilation of the home. If it's inadequate, the roof can decay, and along with it, your reputation. Ventilation guidelines can be found in the book, New Roof Construction. When loading materials onto the roof, use a forklift, scissors truck, or conveyor belt, and place the materials out of the way on the ridge line. On recover jobs, it is especially important to load all of the material onto the roof at the beginning of the job, to allow the house time to adjust to the weight. Before any shakes or shingles are installed, take care of the valley flashings. Valley flashing should be underlaid with a minimum of number 15 roofing felt, 36 inches wide. Ice and water shield type products can be substituted for felt in areas prone to ice dams. Use 20-inch galvanized steel or aluminum. Crimp the center and edge, then paint it on both sides. Use a minimum number of nails. As with any roofing material, start your installation at the eaves. The first course should extend 1.5 inches beyond the edge of the fascia to allow adequate drainage into the gutters. The first course should also be double or triple layered. Special grades of shakes and shingles are available for the first course. Use 2 fasteners per shake or shingle, placing them about 3/4 of an inch from the edge and about 1.5 inches above the butt line of the next course. Nails should be corrosion resistant, hot dip zinc coated, or stainless steel type 304 or 316. Follow the manufacturer's recommendation for nails used on shakes or shingles treated with fire retardants and preservatives. As to length, follow the chart in the book, New Roof Construction. To save time, learn the art of speed nailing. Staples can also be used. Stainless steel type 304 or 316, 16 gauge. These should have a minimum crown of 7/16 inch and a maximum of 3/4 of an inch. Staple 90 degrees to the grain. Placement is the same as that for nails. Important to determine how much of each shake or shingle to leave exposed to the weather. Use the chart in the book New Roof Construction and determine this before you buy your material. Weather exposure obviously affects how much material is needed. When it comes to keeping the edge of the courses even, shingles are less forgiving than shakes because of their smoother, cut edges. With shingles, be exacting by using a hand gauge, chalk line, straight edge, or a combination of the three. Adjust the courses slightly to avoid any short courses as you make your way to the ridge line. Leave about 1/4 of an inch between each shingle and offset the joints of adjacent courses by a minimum of 1.5 inches. Treat knots and other defects as a joint, offsetting the defect 1.5 inches from edges on the adjacent course. When applying shingles, it is also important that joints in alternate courses do not align. With shakes, felting is essential. It acts as a baffle, closing the gaps in the thicker, roughly hewn shakes. It also forces the water toward the surface of the roof, so it can drain. Pre-felting the roof is fast and economical. Plus, it helps as a guide for weather exposures. At the valleys, felt courses can be cut off well into the valley, or you can run a felt bleeder at a distance from the center of the valley. This bleeder also makes a handy guide for cutting the valley shakes, something we'll cover a little later. The felt should extend no lower than twice the weather exposure. So if the weather exposure is 10 inches, place the felt 20 inches above the butt line of the course it covers. For the first course, that 20 inches should include the fascia overhang of 1.5 inches. The bottom edge of the next strip will be 10 inches from the bottom of the previous strip. The top of the felt should attach to the sheathing. That way, when the shakes are nailed, the nails also penetrate the felt. Don't forget to felt details, such as hips and ridges. As a design detail, the first course of shakes can be tripled. For effect, try using a thinner product sandwiched between layers of thicker shakes. Shakes with their rough-hewn edges are a little more forgiving than shingles when it comes to keeping courses even. With shakes, use the edge of the felt as your guide. The toughest part is adjusting the weather exposure so that all the courses are even, all the way to the ridge line. The most important detail when applying shakes is positioning them relative to the felt. No more than 4 inches of a 24-inch shake or 3 inches of an 18-inch shake should be covered with felt. Otherwise, in humid areas, you could limit the life of the roof. The spacing between shakes is slightly bigger than the spacing between shingles, 1/2 inch instead of a 1/4 inch. But the offset between courses is the same. Offset the joints on adjacent courses by 1.5 inches. Shakes are a natural product, and you'll find variations in length, thickness, and width. If a consistent look is important, finish the front of the roof first. Use less desirable material on less visible sections. Save shakes that are too short or feathered and cut them for use on hips or ridge lines. Wide shakes are useful in the valleys. Completing a valley is the same whether using shingles or shakes. Stop the course about 3 units away from the valley. Then pre-cut the piece that will border the valley at an angle so that the grain of the shake or shingle is not parallel to the valley center line. To determine this angle, line up the butt of the shake or shingle with the bottom of the course by marking a line. Cut the piece, but don't throw away the triangular scrap. We'll use it to complete the edges of hips. Install the unit closest to the valley. Then complete the course by filling in the blanks with shakes or shingles of the right width. Make certain that no joints break into the valley. Flashings at vents, chimneys, and skylights aren't difficult if you think of them as just another shake or shingle. Install flashings as if they're another roof surface, forcing the water upward so it can run off. We'll look at 2 different types of flashings, those around vents and those for wall junctures, chimneys, and skylights. Vent flashings are easy. Use at least 26-gauge galvanized steel, aluminum, or plastic. Place the flashing. Then at its upper side, insert a small piece of felt. Top that piece of felt with a unit of undercoursing. Roof around the vent, treating it as if it's a shake or shingle. Leave a 1-inch clearance around the projection, and make sure you don't pierce any part of the vent flashing with a nail. Start the next course by placing one wide piece over the undercoursing at the top of the vent. The butt of this piece may be off slightly from the next course, but that's okay. You're done. Make sure to leave the lower part of the flashing uncovered to allow drainage. Chimneys, wall junctures, and skylights are all flashed essentially the same. Again, use at least 26-gauge galvanized steel, primed with metal paint. There are 3 main parts to this type of flashing: an apron, step flashing, and a cricket. First, complete the final course next to the lowest point of the vertical wall. Apply apron flashing over the upper edges of this course and up the wall or chimney. Cut the apron so that it wraps around the edges. Step flashing is then applied 1 shingle at a time, 1 flashing per course, working toward the ridge line. At the top or back of the chimney or skylight, cricket flashing is installed. The cricket flashing allows water to drain quickly around the sides of the skylight or chimney. Be sure to leave plenty of room for water to flow freely, clear of leaves or debris. Before installing hip or ridge caps, you must first complete the courses forming the hip or ridge edge. To create an overvented ridge line, leave a gap in this edge about 1 inch wide. This allows for proper ventilation. Before installing ridge caps, a 1-inch gap with a specially made ventilation strip. Tack it down, then felt over the gap. For finishing hip edges, use the triangular waste from the valley cuts. The pieces are all ready to go. Once the edges are complete, you're ready to install the caps. Ridge and hip caps can be custom cut, but it's easier to use caps that are pre-made. At the hips, start by marking a guideline to keep the caps even. Using a cap as a measure, snap a chalk line the length of the hip. Next, felt over the top of the hip edges, but don't cover up your chalk guideline. Start the caps at the eave line. Notch the first cap, then double the starter course at the eave line, just as you did for the roofing courses. For ridges, also double the starter course. Begin application of the ridge caps at either end, then work toward the middle. If there is no chimney, create a small saddle in the center where the course meets. By the way, ridges are a good place to add decorative touches. For both ridges and hips, overlap the beveled edges, alternating the direction of the overlap between courses. Keep the weather exposure consistent with the rest of the roof, and conceal the nails about 2 inches above the butt of the next course. Note that you'll need longer nails to penetrate at least a 1/2 inch into or completely through the sheathing. Cedar roofs with proper care will last for decades. Keep your roof clean of any debris and moss. Roofs in wet and humid climates will last longer if treated after initial aging with a wood preservative. Better yet, use Certalast preservative-treated shakes or shingles for long-lasting protection and a 30-year warranty. The Cedar Shake and Shingle Bureau is glad to help you with any questions you might have about applying or caring for cedar roofs. Get a pencil ready, because coming up is the Bureau's address and phone number. We're located in the heart of Cedar Country, and our label is a guarantee that your cedar roof will be the crowning touch of quality.